Hey guys, it's Comic Uno. Today I'm doing Superboy issue 11, and this is the last issue for Superboy. Alright, so let's talk about the cover. I really like the cover because the first issue was pretty much like this. The background was different, but we had Superboy and this art. But now we have Superboy with all his friends in the background. So with 11 issues, we see Superboy grow so much, make friends, and really his life changed and through the 11 issues, and he made friends, and he respects Smallville as a place he belongs, because he never felt like he belonged anywhere, because he never had a childhood. He lived through a test tube. So finally, he has somewhere to belong, and I really like this cover because of that. It shows that he's finally where he belongs. He has all his friends surrounding him, and I really like the art for the cover also. Alright, so let's go into what happened in the story. Alright, so Superboy has to defeat Tenarch, and his friends help defeat Tenarch with Superboy, but really Tenarch kind of runs away. They don't really defeat him. And in the end, Superboy says, you know what, it's been a pretty good time in Smallville. I'm glad I'm here. Made a lot of friends and everything, so, and that's pretty much it. He said, even though I never had a childhood and I might not have normal friends, I'm just glad I have friends, and I'm glad I'm here. So I thought that was a pretty good ending to the issue, and we'll have to see what happens with a different version of Superboy in the new reboot. See if maybe some of the story is like then for the reboot. Maybe I'll have to see, maybe they're related in some point. Well, I guess I'll just have to see next month in September. All right, so the good part. I really liked the ending to this issue because, like I said, for the cover, it shows that Superboy belongs in Smallville, and even though in the beginning and a lot of issues before this series, he says, I don't want to go to Smallville. That's Clark. That's not me. Where do I belong? And, he's always been questioning this. In this series, he kind of discovers himself, I feel. He kind of has a place to belong, has friends that are not Superboy friends or someone else's friends. This is friends he made, It's not because of the superhero community. He made these friends, so these are his friends. And I think he's happy that he made friends, and he likes that Smallville has given him this. And also, it's cool that we get to see the end of the story that's been building up with this whole Tenarch thing. So I'm glad they dropped that totally, because a lot of last issues coming out for DC, they kind of dropped the story arc they've been working on and try and make the bigger picture. It's good for some series, but I'm glad that we got to see the end of this Tenarch thing, because I feel like they had to redeem themselves, because I haven't been really loving this story arc, but this issue is much better than the others. The bad is that I felt like for the last issue of Superboy, they should have defeated Tenarch. Like, I understand if Tenarch just vanishes because, it's a loose end, so they could continue in another story arc in the future. But they're not really going to continue any Tenarch stories, since there are no future story arcs for this series, or even for this version of the character. So I think it would have been better if he was defeated, because, like, what's the point of him still being alive? Or at least being around still, because, like, yes, it might be open for new stories if there was new stories coming out, but there are no new stories coming out, so I don't know why they opened that. And I had a lot of problems with Lori in this issue, or not problems, but what I expected to happen and didn't. Because Lori, in a couple of issues before, Silad's like, Lori, you have some psychic energy coming from you. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And every issue I read after that, I'm like, alright, when's Lori getting these powers? That'd really, really be cool if Lori had powers, to help out Superboy and stuff. And then she never really got it in this issue. I was really maybe thinking that she would get powers in this issue because of that. Like, why mention it if you weren't going to get powers? Yes, I think it might have been in a future story, my guess is. So I wish they put it in this last issue, but I guess they just didn't have enough time. But I do believe maybe she would have had powers in future story. And it would have been cool to see that. And also, Lori was angry at Superboy for a couple issues, and she's like, oh, like, he doesn't even care, blah, blah. So, now she's all good with him again. So that didn't make sense to me. Like, why is she in the end sitting? They didn't have a talk, you know. They didn't say, you know, and talk their feelings out. They just like sitting on the water tower of Smallville. So I expected maybe a little talk between them, because in other issues we had talks and fights and everything with them. So thought maybe they would have a talk, but I guess not in this issue. Too bad. I was disappointed with that. But I still really liked the story. I thought it was a pretty good issue. It was a solid issue. It wasn't the best issue, but improvement from the last issue. I give it a 3.5 this issue. I say pick it up just because it's the last issue, and if you've been reading the story for 10 arc and all that, you want to see the ending of it. But if you haven't been reading Superboy and this is the first issue you picked up, the last issue, I say skip it. But if you've been following Superboy, or if you've been following the story arc, I say pick it up. It's a good ending to the story arc. But for new readers, I wouldn't say it's that great. It doesn't sum up Superboy. If you've been reading it, it sums up Superboy. But if you haven't been reading it, it doesn't sum up the character. So say 3.5. Pick it up in my opinion, because I've been reading it this whole time. Oh, I forgot to talk about the art. Sorry. The art for Superboy, I never really liked the art for some reason. In my opinion, I just don't like how Superboy looks. I like it much better the cover art. So I never really liked the art for this, and I wish they improved it, and I thought it was gonna grow on me all this time, but it never really did. I mean, I'm happy to see that the series over just because of the art thing, but I'm sad to see it over because I really like the story of this, and I kind of like the series, but the art sometimes made the issue a little bad. But most issues I liked, because the story really, really was good. But the art, again, just not my type of art I like. But if you guys might really like the art, I don't know. In your opinion, look at the art. If you like this art, in my opinion, I just don't like it. But alright, so 3.5. I say pick this issue up, and this was Kamigono. Hope you enjoyed.